so be able to provide, to be able to be emotionally mature enough to have uncomfortable conversations.
Grownish, smartish, British.
We are British, apparently.
Zakarriyah.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam.
How are you?
Third time sunnah, right?
Namsa. 3 times, you're right.
There we go.
Yes.
I'm good, alhamdulillah. How are you?
Is it 3 already?
Yeah, man.
That's good.
It's a good look.
Yeah.
I appreciate you coming and making the distance, the journey.
It's not bad, you know. I like it.
Are you north or east?
East.
So that's a trek and a half, isn't it?
Not really, you know. I think it's about an hour. It's about an hour. It's
Isn't
not
that
bad.
London in general, from like A to B?
Yeah, in London, if I can get anywhere in an hour, it's not bad. If anything more than that, it's a bit.
That's cool. I see you on the billboards.
Yeah.
How does that feel?
I'm not gonna lie, I was gassed at first when we was talking about it. They were like, "Yeah, we're gonna do billboards." I was like, "Okay, that's cool." Thinking, you're not really gonna do billboards, and then they're there.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's nice when you get the brothers calling you like, "I see your face. I'm on the roundabout. I see your face."
More importantly, has Mumsy taken a picture next to a billboard?
Not yet.
What?
Because Mum don't go out like that. But she's sent it everywhere. Everyone's got them. My uncles in Germany, the aunties in Ghana.
Look at my son.
Look, he's famous.
That's
I told
good.
you.
That's sick. Mashallah.
I told you.
That's amazing. Now, I remember my son started modelling when he was like 1 year old. And he had like a Sainsbury's campaign.
Wow.
Trust my dad went to like most Sainsbury's in the ends and took selfies. He'd be like, "Look, I'm with your son."
Look.
No,
that's cute.
It was actually, he was very, very proud. And I'm just like, yeah, you're sick. So,
is your son still modelling?
Do you know what? He's back on the books.
Okay.
I stopped him modelling for a while because I felt like when he was 1 to 2, he was enjoying it. Afterwards, I felt like there was a sense of anxiety.
Okay, cool.
And I thought, much as I can be that helicopter, excitable mum, and let me like make sure he does everything and be extra happy right now. I just thought it's unfair.
I hear that.
I want him to be old enough to really recognise and know what he wants.
Because I've got friends. Oh, sorry, look at me damaging equipment. I've got a friend who his wife's Arab, so their kids are beautiful kids, black brother, beautiful kids. They model for like Burberry and all them brands.
Yeah.
And I remember him saying, he had to like really like chat to his daughters because they're girls and be like, "Is this actually what you want to do?" Do you know what I mean?
And not just that, I didn't want my son to, because he started realising he's cute. He's that cute kid with blue eyes. Do you know what I mean? That mixed race kid with blue eyes, and everyone was like, "Oh my God, he's so amazing." So I thought I never want him to also depend on his looks because kids go through phases of not just that, but like, firstly, Khalil is like an old school vibe. He's got an old soul. I don't want that to be like watered down. Secondly, when kids hit puberty, a lot can happen to your skin.
True.
So if you suddenly start depending on your looks, you'll be destroyed, emotionally and mentally, with the way social media is moving.
That's smart,
Yeah. So I just thought, I need him to have self-love in more different ways than that. So I just thought, he was doing really well. Like he was in Debenhams, Head Baker, the works. Okay. But I was just like, it was a good extra income. I'm not gonna lie, for savings and that for him, obviously.
Yeah, of course.
Anyways, we've got Zakarriyah in the building. Yeah. From Life After Prison. Yeah. X Conversations. Yeah. Anything else?
That's good. That's it for now. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
How are those movements going?
Going good. So Life After Prison. Now we are filming season 2, booking guests for season 3.
Amazing.
X Conversations. We're about to launch our next program for this year. So it's busy times.
Nice. And for your Life After Prison, do people approach you and ask to come on?
Oh, it's crazy. So after the billboards, we've had an influx of like emails and DMs like, "Oh yeah, I'd love to come on, share my story." The guest list is just growing and growing.
That's it.
We've got some special things in the pipeline, hopefully. So,
as in potential big names.
I wouldn't say. But you see, the thing is, we're not really keen. I'm not keen. I'm not going to say that. We're not chasing. We're not chasing for the big names, but more for like different ways to tell a story.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah. So
I'm excited.
Something's coming.
That's cool, man. Do you get to choose who you want on a guest?
We get so me and Jules, the presenters, we discuss with our producers. They get names, and then we sit down and talk about it.
That's good.
What do we think?
It's good that you have that control because obviously, like when you're the co-host, sometimes you don't have much outside controls.
Yeah,
it's just like you're a great face, you're good at doing what you're doing. but we have a vision.
Yeah.
And we want to run with it. And it's just like you just pull up and show face kind of thing.
But at the same time, it's like you choose your guests, right? So imagine you're not choosing your guests. How do you
hard.
create that kind of relationship? How do you develop that chemistry?
That's true. I agree. But I think if you think about day-to-day hosting and presenting, sometimes people are just thrown your way, and you just use your transferable skills and ability to adapt to just run with it.
Exactly.
But that's sick though.
But at the same time, you know what you're trying to do. You know the vision of your podcast. Do you get what I'm saying? Likewise, I understand what I'm trying to do. So if I feel like does this guest really resonate with our viewers?
Yeah.
Are they really credible? Do you get what I'm saying?
100%.
So there's been occasions where I've been like, nah, I'm not feeling this person.
So you've been able to just read the situation?
Yeah, because like, I'm just like, look, if I'm being absolutely real, my people will be like, why are they on the podcast?
Like, especially if they can't, like, obviously, like, if you have a certain, like, what you wouldn't achieve goal-wise, and they're not articulating themselves in a certain manner or delivering the message to how you want to help benefit people, then I guess you do have to be quite selective into
it's not even, it's that as well, but it's more the case of, I'm hearing the echo now.
Can you?
Yeah, it's more.
It's all good, right?
It's more the case of their story.
Yeah.
Is their story because of privilege?
Okay.
Like, is it relatable?
Yeah.
Does that, like, so for example, let me just say, like, the person's super successful now and they've appeared on TV, but they've been to prison for like 2 months.
Yeah.
In another country. How relatable is that?
But could it be relatable for those to understand that actually, even when you travel, watch yourself? Because I guess life after prison is just life after prison.
Yeah, of course.
I guess, and
there's no, like, it's a blanket thing, innit? Life after prison. But I mean, like, how relatable is that really though? That
people
you've done 2 months. You've done 2 months, and then you was on a national TV show, and then you're successful.
I want to Google 2 months jail abroad and see who that person is. All right, so we start every episode with a quote.
Wow, that was intro.
Yeah,
my bad.
Nah, it's calm, man. Calm, it's just, it is what it is. Yeah. Not the one that you sent me first time around, but the second one, please. Can you go for?
Second quote is, and I heard this about 2 weeks ago. I was at a function for it was a 16+ youth event, and there were multi-agencies there. People from the council, people from their own organisations that offer work and employment and training for young people. And one of the guest speakers, he was like, so this is the quote, he goes, "Don't rush to fail.
Okay.
But take time to win."
Nice. Okay, can you elaborate?
So don't be in a hurry to achieve success and then end up failing because you're overlooking certain aspects.
Yeah. So take time with it.
Take your time.
Yeah.
But take your time to win.
Yeah.
So when you take your time, you focus, you put your energy in the right places, you take the steps you're meant to take, then you'll win eventually.
I think that's like an example of this is like in the podcasting industry. Some people just want to get numbers instantly, so they're pushing. And then a lot of people just literally completely fall out the game because they're just like, well, we didn't get what we wanted to get. And I'm like, well, consistency is key. Understand the system, understand how it works, understand what you're trying to produce, how you're going to achieve this audience. It's a lot of work and intricate detail.
Without a doubt.
To achieve that, and that applies to pretty much any business plan that you want to do. If you're trying to rush to get a successful restaurant, you got to accept that you just got to just about break even the first year, rather than we're going to be killing it. It's just like, but then you're going to shut down next year.
Unless you get lucky.
Yeah, it does happen.
Sometimes you need luck. Sometimes you do need luck, but you hit the nail on the head. You have to like focus. You have to apply yourself. Like that's why I rate your work rate, because you got episodes dropping. The socials are moving. The YouTube's moving. You know what I'm saying? So like you have to respect it. But at the same time, when it comes to numbers, I'm not too concerned personally, and that's only because I'm more about the impact. Yeah. So. Yeah, we could have, let's say we have 50,000 views, but there's no impact or no one really takes something. Hit anyone like that. Yeah. Whereas I don't mind 100 views, but maybe there's 5 people that watched those 100 and it's really affected them and it's motivated to do something.
I appreciate that. However, if we keep it like, let's just say your brand, or let's say the brand that you're working with at the moment, which is Life After Prison. if they didn't get the numbers, they couldn't justify continuing.
True.
Because they would need those numbers to get more grants, to get sponsors, to get whatever, because effectively numbers speak.
That's
but
true.
I get what you mean. You want substance, and quality over that,
without a doubt. And that's where you have to like, what's the word? I have to give and take. Do you get what I'm saying? So like, sometimes I'd be like, okay, cool, it makes sense. Let's try it, but that's just a personal thing. I'm more about the impact.
No, I appreciate that. My quote is, first it hurts, then it changes you.
Ooh, that's philosophical.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of us feel the hurt and can't anticipate the next level in life, or the next page and next chapter, or even how much you can evolve from that pain. And once you get past it and accept the pain and marinate in it and begin to heal, you can only get better. And it, like, I mean, on a positive point of view, a lot of experiences change you for the best. I
was gonna say, I'm glad you said.
But on the flip side, unfortunately, some hurt can lead to you spiraling.
Yep, that's it.
So to me, I'm a optimistic human being. Although my husband would say otherwise. He'd be like, you're always thinking the worst, and I'm just like, I'm just a risk assessor.
I'm like that as well. I'm hoping for the best, but I'm still expecting the worst.
Of how raw life could be.
Yeah.
That's it. So I think, I guess it works two ways. How does that quote relate to you?
No, that's a very, like, from when you said that, like, ooh. Because, and I'm glad you took it on the positive aspect, whereas it can go both ways.
100%.
It definitely can go both ways. It can change people for the better and for the worse. But either way, sometimes you need a stimulus. So, I can't remember, where was I? I was having a discussion, and I was watching something with my wife actually, and the speaker, it was a sister who reverted to Islam.
Nice.
She was from Sheffield, the area.
Okay.
And she was saying, sometimes Allah just puts you in a situation where you've got no other choice but to turn to Him. And from that moment, that change, that's what's going to affect the change in your life, or that's going to be the spark or the stimulus that creates the change. So with me personally, it's like every time there's, sometimes there's a death in the family, or there's something that's happened to you personally, whether it's in your career, whether it's financially, whether it's your mental well-being, wherever it is, there's always that moment where you're like, okay, God, I need your help. Or like, okay, I have to really learn from this situation.
Yeah.
And find out ways, or create ways that I don't go through this again, but I learn from.
Yeah, I guess it's mindset. So based on how you receive the pain and accept, like, purpose, will determine whether you become, like, whether you crumble from it, or whether you maybe crumble at first and then eventually, like, push through it and go, do you know what? I needed to go through this in order for me to become who I am today. Because effectively, like, I've said this several times before, who we are today, like, if you were to speak to 10 years ago, you wouldn't even begin to identify with each other.
Nah.
There'll be resemblance, but you never expect to be the man that you were today.
Yeah. And that's because you don't know where your path's going, innit?
That's it.
So
that's it.
If I was to speak to myself 10 years ago, I'd be like, nah, you ain't doing this stuff, like being a podcast or whatever.
Yeah.
Just doing whatever I'm doing now. I'd be like, no, you'd be maybe still in the streets. Running around, you know what I'm saying? So
100%. So I called upon you today,
yes.
yet again. But I wanted to sort of switch up a conversation. I wanted to speak about, like, roles, responsibilities and tradition versus, like, the modern days let me try this one more time. I want to talk about traditional roles versus modern day roles, basically, and, like, how it's transitioned, and obviously your viewpoint on it. So, as you know, I start back from childhood. So growing up, what did home look like to you? And what were the roles, responsibilities?
Yeah. So I grew up with, like, traditional parents. Turns out my mum stayed home, looked after the house, looked after us. My dad used to go work, come home. And when he used to come home, the food would get laid out.
Yeah.
There's a separate bowl for him to wash his hands. My mum was such a good wife. She'd undo his shoes.
Oh, bless her.
Yeah, my mum was
That's
proper.
incredible.
Proper. And And I could see my dad liked it though. He liked that, you know. And I used to think, why she treated him good like that, man? You know what I'm saying? As a little kid, you're like, why is he getting that treatment? I didn't get it, but you know, as I got older, I was like, I respect it. You know what I'm saying?
But also growing up, with your mum and dad roles, you had a sister, right?
Yes, younger sister. But
did you guys have different roles, like just by default, by you being men and women?
No.
As siblings?
No. This is the thing. So between my mum and dad's relationship, it changed obviously when my sister was born, because that's the beginning of their separation.
Sure. Yeah.
So then I don't know what it was, but like I think my dad was more the traditional, the strict, the firm one, and my mum was kind of like, you know, there's certain things we know we can't do, but other than that, do your thing.
Yeah.
And then so like I was the one cooking out of my siblings, so I was the chef.
How did that happen? Was it just you having an interest of cooking next to mum?
No, I was the responsible one. So it was like,
there's got to be one person.
Yeah, mum was like, so when my mum was going back into work and whatnot, it was like, yep, you lot make sure that the house is clean, make sure you feed your brothers and sisters, you know what I'm saying? So my sister can cook.
Okay.
But she's not the best.
Does she need to hear this right now?
No offenses.
Yeah.
But so what about you though?
Traditional roles were pretty much all I knew. Like my mum and dad, like their love languages were to serve each other in different ways. So like my dad was to provide, and mum was just to make sure the house is peaceful and ready and accommodating. Like so, food's ready, house is clean, kids are sorted, homework's ready. And I loved that they created a good environment for each other. So he was like the proud father that would be able to spend on us, and then like in their world, that was affection and that was love. But I appreciated the fact that they were very, like, they took a lot of pride in it. There was no sort of, my mum was oppressed or she felt like she had to do this because otherwise she won't hear the end of it.
They did it happily and lovingly.
It was genuinely trying to cater to each other. And I think that's incredible. And I kind of aspired to do that when I was younger. And that's kind of what I wanted to ask you, like growing up in the environment that you were growing up in, bear in mind, you have the outside world that you were living in as well. So you were doing the road stuff. Plus you went to school, which is integrated with different cultures, different faiths, etc. Did you look at your traditional roles at home and go, I mess with that? Or were you like,
No, I wanted that.
Okay.
I'd say I'm an old soul, you know. Like I've got one of my producers is a senior lady. She's not that old, but she's just a bit older than us.
It's probably my age.
She's older than us.
Okay,
and she's like, you're an old soul, man, because like we kind of get on. You know what I mean?
You're on her wavelength.
Yeah.
That's sick.
So I'm more like, I like traditional roles. I feel like there has to be a balance in the household.
Yeah.
And that's something that I aspired to. I wanted, you know, my wife to be a stay-home wife.
Ideally.
Ideally, but obviously, you know, you have to compromise. You have to adapt. Yeah. And like my wife, I said, like, so my wife had the discussion. I'm sure you had that discussion.
Yeah.
Like, so like, I want to work. Is that all right? What do you think?
What you saying?
Do you think you want to work? No problems.
See someone else watching this, they're like, what do you mean you're asking your husband can I work?
Yeah, I know.
And it's just like, it's interesting because they don't realize that actually there's a lot of stuff that a man should do for a woman.
Yeah.
And her working is predominantly because she wants to be able to provide and also just to stay stimulated as well. Like if you're,
it's for her to do her thing.
That's her money.
It's her. That's her piece. So just to clarify, you know, as a Muslim man, as in a Muslim marriage, the man has to provide.
Yeah.
Financially, everything in the yard, the house, the clothes, food, everything, financials, everything has to be covered by the man, and therefore the woman can choose not to work if she wants, like if she wants to. So we had that discussion. I was like, look, it's up to you, innit? Like, if you prefer to work, fine by me.
And what I like about it as well is that you have to pretty much lay everything on the line. Like you have to just be very open and transparent and go, like, I'm happy if you want to like live within my means, but here are my means.
Yes.
Are you cool with that?
Yes.
Because like when you're a single woman and you're living in your parents' crib, for example, you're earning X amount of money. Mum and dad's got you for rent. Mum and dad got you for food more times.
Yeah.
And therefore you have all this money to buy the kicks you want, the bags you want, the this you want, the holidays you want. And then now, if you're willing to sacrifice certain things to enter this marriage, then you have to go, okay, can I sacrifice these luxuries? Although technically speaking, I think there's some sort of like understanding that you should try and provide those things as well, like maintain her lifestyle.
Yeah.
But then I think it's about a woman being reasonable and going,
as well, yes.
I can't expect you to do this if I'm willing to live within your means.
Compromise.
Yeah.
So,
did you feel that there was a lot of compromises in that area?
Yes and no, because I'm not a stingy guy, but I'm not the richest guy either. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, I'm the type that I'd rather not spend on myself anyway. So I don't mind spending on my wife. That's cool. Yeah. Or my family members, or whatever. Because for me, I've kind of been through that lifestyle of splashing money or spending money excessively. So like, it doesn't really bother me. So, but as a legit man, I've got to make sure the bills are covered. I've got to make sure, all of our expenses are covered. And like, then I'm like, okay, this is what we're working with. Yeah. What do you want to do with it? Yeah. Do you get what I'm saying? Yeah. So the compromise is that all the bills are covered, the rent, all of that sorted. And then this is what we can work with. Yeah, so that's where I feel like the compromise is in terms of what do you want to do with the money.
And I'm guessing with her, it was a lot easier to come to. I know a lot of men who've met women along the way, and they've had like some crazy expectations and crazy demands. Yes. So prior to meeting your wife, I was on a Muslim dating app where I met my husband, and
I saw them videos, by the way.
Did you?
Oh, my wife was like, they're so sweet.
No, it was so zoomed in. So I looked so terrible. I was just like, you guys were so mean.
Nah, it was good.
Put no filter, no nothing.
No, that was really good. I think it's good to like be part of that. And show that love does come from there.
Definitely. I think that's what like my husband's kind of low key. Like, even though he's an actor, he's just like, I don't need to be anywhere unless it's serving a purpose. Yes. So he said, if it shows that there's hope for people and there's hope for like achieving and finding your spouse through this app, then I'm here for it.
I love that.
He went, other than that, like, I'm good. Like, I don't need it. We don't need the money. We're good. Like, it's whatever. Because they give you like a bill or something, I don't know, for it. But he said, I don't really care for that. He went, if it serves a purpose and it's meaningful, then I'm here for it, because it kind of connects to faith. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. At the end of the day, it's that intentions behind the action as well.
That's it. So prior to meeting your wife,
yes,
if you don't mind, did you meet or did you get to know women, even if it's just online or whoever? Even, I don't know whether you went through the message path or whatever, but did you meet people who had very unrealistic expectations?
Yes. Crazy.
Can you give me an example?
I'll give you a great example.
Oh gosh.
So talking to a sister, she was like, my dad, I want a house.
Nice.
And I was like, okay. You want to buy the house in cash? She was like, no, mortgage, innit?
Ah, sweet.
Yeah, so I'm like, oh, is it?
Yeah.
All right.
Make it make sense.
Yeah, it's not going to happen. Because of the interest. Yeah. And I was like, okay, cool. What's the other way around it? She's like, 100 grand.
So she didn't want a cash house. She wanted a mortgage, but then she wanted straight up.
But then 100 bags. It's like, all right, so you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to shout my friends in the Middle East. That way you can sort that out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, get the Arab money.
So because 100 bags, I'm not going to lie. Like, you're asking a man was beginning a career or building a career, 100 grand, are you crazy?
How does that make you feel though? Like, from someone who's
I'm
left
fine
that.
with it. That's cool.
But like from having that potential to achieve it just like that, then being told, well, actually now I need to now focus and not think, crap, like, am I never going to be able to get someone because now I'm having to have a humbling restart to life?
No, because I've always had the belief that, everything's written in it. So your spouse is written, everything, your sustenance. So whatever is for you will reach you regardless. So in that process, it's just like, cool, man, you're just not for me. It's fine. Yeah. But just to balance it out, I've also had sisters say, just give me a Quran.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying? They're like, I just want a Quran.
I don't want nothing. Yeah.
Nothing else. Give me a Quran. Simple. What?
How does that make you feel?
That's beautiful, man. I think that's beautiful because as a man, there's a lot of pressure. And if I'm just to say there's no pressure, I'd be lying. There's pressure. So in your head, you're thinking, oh, I really like this sister, but like, what do you reckon what's she gonna ask for?
3 camels.
It's gonna be like, some huge, like, what's it gonna be? Because then it's like, it's a bit more pressure on you. But
do you feel like people lose like the understanding of those requirements, and they kind of focus on the cultural perspective, like I want a big wedding and I want this, and they kind of miss the point of having a dowry and what that actually means and how that secures you as a woman?
Well, without a doubt, there's a story. I don't know. Did I tell it here? I'm not sure. So there's a story Imam told us, one of his friends. So he was getting married. The sister asked for a big wedding. The big wedding, the cost of it was 50k. And then a house. Yeah. So the brother worked 3 jobs for 2 years. 3 jobs for 2 years. Smashed it out. The Imam saying we used to see him and he's going
constantly. Like
he's always on the go. There's times you see him, you feel he looks really run down. Khalas. He got the money. Bought the house, bought it, 2 years. The man grafted for 2 years.
Grinded hard,
Hard, 3 jobs. Bought the house, paid for the wedding. There was horses, the carriage, the whole thing, the whole shebang. Okay. I think they had like 1,000 people at the wedding. Everyone got a 3-course meal. Boom. So let's say they got married on the Friday. The Tuesday, she said, I'm going shopping. Do food shopping. Never came back.
For why?
Just never came back. Like the brother grafted.
Did she take the crib?
I don't know. She just never came back.
Mad.
Subhanallah. So all of that grafting, and what the Imam was trying to say to us, the story, because he was telling it to a small circle. The moral was like, sometimes it's not about the money. It's about the intention. It's about what's the money for? What's it going to be used for? So that was clearly an image thing. It wasn't like with pure intentions.
Yeah. So like for me, like to know that my man's grafting for something that doesn't really hold much weight and substance to my marriage, and will hold us for the next 100 years, assuming we live that long. That will make me feel very uncomfortable, and I feel like it's kind of sad that we live in a time where the entitlement's getting realer and realer. But just to take it back a little bit, growing up, like obviously again, like being a boy in East London, I'm guessing you're born and raised. Hanging out, doing what boys do. Did you? And you were raised by a strong mother. How did you view women like amongst your peers? Like was it when it comes to respect and value?
Okay. This is funny because I had a lot of female friends growing up.
Okay.
Yeah, there was a lot within our circles. I had some good female friends from school, and I was just be nice to girls. You know what I mean? However, there were some girls that used to lose respect in terms of what they were doing. So,
as in you'd lose respect for them.
Yeah. So, but I mean, everyone would, and so would I, because in terms of, I don't want to sound bad, but it's like you're doing like mad stuff in it out here.
But who they doing it with?
With guys. You're doing it with guys. Don't get me wrong. The guys are still the guys are still doing a mazza.
Yeah.
Like you know what I mean? So it goes both ways. Like I had friends that I'm like, bro, like I had friends that had wifey 1, wifey 2, wifey 3, wifey 4
peace.
saved in their phone.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's a bit mad.
Yeah.
It's a bit mad. Then I'm going like, you back in the days you used to back your linkage. Yeah, I'm gonna back your linkage. So you go back there and it's like, it's a different girl and you're lying to them, I really care about you. And then you're gonna go see another girl the next day. I'm thinking it's
so you were never that guy?
Nah, it's long.
What made you not be that guy?
Oh, I don't know. I think I used to I think I'm still romantic, but I was like, I want the perfect girl. And then we're gonna grow up together.
I'm gonna save myself for the right one.
Yeah, we're gonna grow up together, and then we're gonna, get married and we're gonna be like high school sweethearts.
Where did that come from?
I don't know, you know. I'm not gonna lie, I don't know. I used to watch a lot of movies growing up, so it's possibly from that. But so I had a lot of female friends, and I think once there was a friendship, them days, I didn't want it to be something else.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying? So if I'm on you, I'm not.
Yeah.
And if I'm not, well, cool. If I'm onto you, then if the moment we become friends, that's it.
It's
just friends. Or
so you're able to draw that line quite clearly.
And more time.
Because a lot of guys are like, "No, you're just on the fence waiting."
Yeah, that's the case for a lot of people.
Yeah.
But and especially with me, because I used to chill with a lot of boys, and the circles were like overlapping. So, like from time I know you're like like I speak to your girl and you're attractive. I like you, but then you're doing something with someone from this circle. Nah, sorry.
Not even friendship.
Nah, Smith. No, we could be friends.
But you know where you stand.
But it's not gonna happen, even though I like you. Nah, sorry, you was with my man.
Yeah, and you guys.
That's just how
the
it
bro
was.
code's real as well. Like
not even bro code. It's just that I know you've been with him. So in my mind, that's tainted you. I don't know why. Correct me if I'm wrong.
But you know what it is? It's wrong, obviously, because at the end of the day, like if you take it back, separate culture and go back to Islamic perspective, like religion. Yeah. Women and men don't have any exemptions from each other.
True.
So a man's reputation isn't expected to be tarnished, or women based on what they do or don't do. Effectively, a sin is a sin, right?
Yes.
But culturally, I guess women and men have been conditioned to view themselves and each other in a certain manner. So a guy being a gallus is just like, my G.
He's the guy, yeah.
But a girl having body count over 2 or 3 back then, it's just like, nah, she belongs to the streets. Yeah. And it's just like, but then when we push it back down to faith,
it's irrelevant.
Who's wrong or right?
That's true. But I'm talking about in that specific era. I'm talking about growing up, teenage years.
Yeah, and that's like, pre-faith as well.
Yeah, pre-Islam, you know, I'd say like a grown mindset.
Yeah.
So still that young man, I'm like, nah, man, she was kissing my man. You know what I'm saying? I'm just like, I can't do it now.
So in that case, to an extent, you growing up, you didn't see men and women as equals. Because like, I guess when it comes to dating, socializing, certain things, if women are seen doing certain motives, seen certain environments, they're tainted.
But at the same time, I have to balance it. So in that specific scenario, but it doesn't stop me being your friend though. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So like I had friends in my own class, but I know about 10 guys that you're doing things with. But we're still cool. It's just we could never be anything else.
But would you ever then advise them? Did you feel the need or urge to? Or did you just mind your business?
It's not my place, because you're happy doing what you're doing. Like, that's just how I saw it. Like, you're telling me about, I went on this link the other day and rare. Okay, you're happy with that lifestyle. That's cool.
Yeah, do you?
Like,
boo.
do you know what I'm saying?
Do you, boo?
But that's a fair point that you make. Did I see people as equal? Did I see men and women as equal, or girls and boys as equal? Maybe not, you know.
I don't think many people do though.
Maybe
I
not.
think even certain women, like a lot of women, don't see themselves. Or growing up, we knew men can get away with murder, and women couldn't. And men, like even growing up in, even as Muslims, forget Muslims, Christians, growing up in certain ethnic minority households, you knew the brothers would have girlfriends. Yeah, they were the ones that go out and do the most, come back late. And then the girls had to be good, come back home before the sun sets. Yeah. You know, can't have any sleepovers, can't do nothing. But the boys were just given this free reign. Yeah. But then it's just like, but then you want these same men to be a certain caliber, to then get married to a certain caliber of a woman, which just completely contradicts itself. But I think it's just part of, unfortunately, just culture taking over like your main foundations as opposed to faith. But I think it's also down to the parents not being able to distinctively determine what's what when it comes to, because they don't know themselves. Like our parents didn't know. They never focused on actually technically it's haram, like for my brothers to be doing that. Yeah. They're just, but he's a boy. I'm like, what does that mean? What does that mean? But it is what it is, isn't it? Do you feel like you carried women on a pedestal in that sense as a result of your mum, or do you feel like it's just literally in your nature?
You're hitting me with the deep ones.
I got to.
I don't know, but I just feel like I remember growing up that if I liked a girl, I'd put her up there. I'd be like, yeah. she's beautiful, she's this, she's that, she's that. Da, da, da. I got to do I had to be more. If that makes sense, to get the girl. That's
not in a finessing kind of way, but in a sort of, I have to be leveled.
I step myself up, like, you know what I mean? And then after I was like, it's all a lie, man.
What part's a lie?
It's all a lie.
What?
Like, what am I chasing this girl for? What am I actually chasing her for? Like, I'm talking about them days. What am I actually chasing for? Because it got to a point where, I don't want to sound really bad, but like, if I wanted a girl, I end up getting her to a certain extent.
You gets it like that.
Nah, like, it just, I don't know. I just, you know, after a certain while, after a certain age, I just had a confidence about myself that, and
confidence, by the way, is what
it does
gets
a lot.
women.
No, it does a lot. You know, I'm not gonna lie, it does a lot. And my friends that were confident back in the days and they're not confident now, I'm like, bro, you was the guy back in the days. You was really confident when we was growing up. He's like, nah, it's gone now. Like, what?
Bless.
So like, I feel like when I got that confidence and I'm like, yeah, if I like this girl, I can end up. And I'm just like, it's the chase, innit? That's what we liked.
So you realised that was it?
That's what it was back them days. It's the chase. It was like,
despite the movies, despite the romantic side.
Yeah, it was like that chase. And afterwards, like, this girl ain't the girl I like, because like, I don't know, maybe I wasn't myself in the chase. Do you get what I'm saying? So I feel like when I'm around her, I didn't have to, I'm being someone else.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? I'm that guy that I've built up.
I do find it a bit wild. I remember like even growing up and hearing like a guy loves a chase. The minute they get the woman, they're like, yeah, no, on to the next. And they've basically conquered it. Maybe not literally in a physical point of view, but they've now got their time. They've got their number. They've got whatever. Back in the day, like whatever, they got the BBM.
The number,
Prior to finding faith, did you have any desire to settle down and get married and have a family?
Yeah. I always said that I wanted to be married before I had kids. Always.
Okay.
Always. I don't know why. I was like, nah. So growing up, I was like, nah, you man, like, I had friends that had kids when we were like 15, 16. Like they're getting girls pregnant and they're gonna, like, that's a bit mad. Not for me. I was on some, I want to get married first.
Did you have any idea when you wanted to get married?
I always said like 25. I don't know why that number was.
It seemed very adult back then.
Yeah. It seemed like, but it's not though. 25, you're still young, man. You're still young. You're still doing your thing. You're still learning about yourself.
Yeah.
But like, that was the age that I put out there. And ended up getting married at 30. So.
That's God's timing.
Yeah.
That's God's timing.
Yeah.
You still managed to get married before having children.
Exactly.
And there we go.
Yeah.
So technically we achieved the goals.
Alhamdulillah.
But this time around, after you got the goal, you didn't sort of go, bye. Yeah,
no,
actually,
it's different though. But that's the thing though. Islam gives you different. Yeah, exactly. It gives you different principles, different morals, and a different set of guidelines that you got to adhere to. So,
as far as like frame of mind, do you feel like you had to really check yourself before you were ready to like really get married? Like once you realize, all right, what am I doing in my life? What do I want to do? How am I going to achieve the next chapter? As a man, like what kind of thoughts and processes do you go through to really get yourself ready for that woman? Good
question. Specifically, especially I want to say to brothers, you've got to have in your mindset that you're ready to be a husband, to tick all what is expected of you.
What is that?
So be able to provide, to be able to be emotionally mature enough to have uncomfortable conversations, to express yourself in a way that you are allowing your spouse to understand exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
You're able to understand from an emotional perspective and from an intellectual perspective what your wife's saying to you. Why is she acting like this? Why is she behaving in this way? Having that conversation. And also being able to step up to the mark in terms of, are you ready to provide for this woman? You're taking a woman away from her family now, essentially. So now you have a big responsibility.
I think also, I guess from what I've learned and seen amongst women that have had obviously failed relationships or marriages, is that there's a lot of ego as well.
Ego.
A battle of the egos.
Yeah.
men not realizing, because culture is a big part of how maybe sometimes men and women see themselves and value themselves. And like for a man to be willing to submit to his wife in a certain manner, they see it, are you mad? Like, you should be doing this, you should be doing that. And it's because it's inherited like ideas and concepts, and not realizing actually part of marriage is to serve each other, like
without
literally.
a doubt. But I feel like in terms of ego, how can you have ego when you put your head to the floor 5 times a day?
Say that one more time, please.
How can you have ego when you put your head to the floor 5 times a day?
But I mean, for those who don't quite pray and aren't quite there yet, I mean, I guess the one thing I learned was ego is probably the most damaging thing to a person for themselves, let alone the people around them. Yeah. Like, I've never seen ego really win. And if you do win, you're winning alone.
You got to say that again. You got to say that again.
But it's real.
Yeah,
it's
like
real.
if you win, you're winning alone.
Yeah, because you're standing by yourself.
Ego is, I'm not going to lie, ego is the biggest turn off in terms of if I'm meeting a person and it's like, bro, you need to check yourself. That's long. I'm not going to check you.
Yeah.
Like, you deal with that and then shout me later, because that's long for me.
That requires a lot of self-reflection.
Without a doubt. So in terms of what you said, submitting to your wife, in terms of, there's aspects where, your wife's going to be like, nah. You're like, okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Some man will be like, no, what do you mean? Listen, just chill.
Like,
there's times like,
choose your battles, man.
Yeah, like, just come on, man, it's your wife. Give your wife time. And that's the thing I've learned. I've had to learn. Women, you need to give your wife attention. You need to communicate. I read somewhere in a study that women need to speak on average 5,000 words per day in order to maintain a healthy mental health. Whereas men, the number significantly lower. It's about 2,000.
But it's because also men like to listen more.
Sometimes I don't want to talk.
Yeah.
There's literally times like I'm good. I don't have nothing to talk about. I just don't want to talk. But like my wife will want to speak, and then I've got to speak and communicate, because that fulfills her and that keeps our bond close, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So compromises like
So like I've learned that, and that's cool. That's not a problem. It's your wife. That's your homie. That's your best friend. I think
once you remove your ego, you don't really see no difference.
Listen, and if you've got an ego, there's a problem. Yes, you can have a certain amount of pride in the work you do.
Of course.
Like the pride in how you look sometimes, the pride in, your household. That's
how
cool.
You conduct yourself.
How you conduct, without a doubt. But pride is in you're above anyone. Yeah. Like the Quran reminds you, you're no one.
Yeah.
You're insignificant. Like, so that's just that. Why have you got ego, especially with the person you're meant to love, you're building a life with? Do you know what I'm saying?
Do you know what's interesting? The conversation that you and I are having right now is probably total opposite what's happening right now on social media.
Yeah.
It's like there's a lot of battles happening between men and women, and I feel like I don't know whether you've experienced this through your own like friends and your circle of people, but it seems extremely hard to just settle down these days.
Oh,
it's almost impossible to just find someone where you can actually both be vulnerable. Like, I think everyone's afraid to be vulnerable. Everyone's afraid to like show any sign of emotion, because it will show like they're weak. I feel like because of how much women are trying to be like men and men are trying to outdo women, that no one's able to just keep it real.
I see it with colleagues. I see it with, some friends that, like, you say you're looking for a wife, but you're not, because you're not portraying a husband. Does that make sense? Or you're not behaving as a husband should behave.
Yeah.
And then I have colleagues that are like, I want to settle down, but you're not putting out settle down energy.
So I literally did a TikTok where it's like a soundbite from one of my episodes, and I said, "Be the energy you want to receive."
Boom.
And people were like, "Oh yeah," but there's a lot of like resistance from men.
Is there blowback?
Yeah.
From men.
Yeah. And it's just like a woman is more accepting of a man. He has to have experience. And I'm like, but you don't understand. In order to, when I say you have to be the energy that you have to be the energy that you wish to receive, meaning if you want to settle down as a man, you can't wait for the woman to come along for you to then adjust who you are and adapt and conform and suddenly mature.
That's true.
You have to start asserting yourself into that lane before that woman comes. So when she does, you're attracting that energy correct.
Facts.
You're not having to finesse her and lie to her to the potential that you may or may not become. And also, you're ready to handle her in the sense that the way she deserves to be handled. Like, you can't expect a woman of a certain caliber when you yourself can't even hold that energy for yourself.
True. But at the same time, it works both ways.
100%.
So this is the thing, like, so then, and it sounds mad, but so a man, well, what I understand, so let me talk for myself.
Go ahead.
So for myself, I'm ready. I prepared 3 years to get married. Well, it took 3 years. Like, from time I said, I'm ready to get married, it's a 3 year process. You know, I'm trying to find the right person, you know, making sure I'm in the right financial place, making sure my life's in the right place, all of that stuff. And so I know what I'm prepared to do. I know what I'm capable of doing. Yeah. So then I know what I want from my wife. So I want a woman that can cook. I want a woman that's happy to cook as well. Like, she's happy to go in the kitchen and make a meal. Like, if you're happy, that's cooked, good, we work. If that's not you, that's cool. Then we're not for each other. Do you get what I'm saying? So I feel like at the same time, a woman has to make herself ready or be in a state where she's ready to be a wife too. You know, and then it's about the give and take compromise.
100%.
So it goes both ways. But at the same time, I feel like you're right. It's the energy that you give is what you're going to get out.
Yeah, because, I mean, a lot of us, even I've been guilty of it, where I'm like, oh, I want this kind of caliber of man, and I want a man who's on his deen, but where am I with it? And then I think, because there's an element of us, a naivety between men and women, where we're like, okay, when we meet our person, they'll help take us to another level. They'll help boost who we are. Do you know what I mean? Like, they'll bring us to another level. But if you're dependent on that person for the change to happen, then it's more likely to not work out, because you're depending on a human being to try and fix you. Yeah. When actually you're meant to bounce off each other's energy and actually elevate each other just by each other's presence and by like me watching how you move, me watching how you behave, how you handle circumstances, and going, rah, that's inspiring. Example. That's it. Leading by example. And I remember I was in the masjid, I can't remember what it was, and the Imam was saying, there's two ways you can handle a situation. So situation is the same situation, two different ways. So husband and wife, the husband and wife, the wife wasn't praying. The other scenario, the husband wasn't praying. Cool. So scenario A, the husband just used to pray. He used to get up and pray, Qiyamul Layl, late night, pray, make dua, pray. As well as his usual 5 salah. And then he said one day, he finished the salah and he looked back and his wife was praying with him. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't know how long it was over a period of time. So that's scenario A. That's same situation, scenario A. I know what scenario B is. Scenario B, 100%. Get out of here. You don't pray. I don't want a man that don't pray. Get out the house. You're not going to see your kids no more. Downward spiral. However, that's an example that only mum gave. But can I give an example to how I feel like men and women influence each other differently? So I'm talking about traditional roles here. I'm not talking about the 2023 vision of what women and men are fighting over. Burn all those titles now. For me personally, I feel like as a man, as a leader, as a person who runs a house, sets the tone of the house, and the foundations, you getting up to pray holds so much more weight and influence on everyone else than if a woman was to pray and her man doesn't pray. Yes. Because I knew I can speak about it firsthand, but also what I truly desired is a man who's on his salah, because you only encourage me, especially a man who, all men have a level of pride, right? So imagine you don't pray and you're married to a woman who prays all the time. The more she tells you to pray, the more resistant you are of it. Yes. The more a man tells his wife to pray, the more she's like, do you know what? I respect the fact that he prays. It's annoying that he's nagging me, but I respect it and I find it appealing. But if a man's not ready to check himself and check his prayers and who he is and who's developing into, he will resist that prayers for as long as he needs to.
Yeah.
It's very unlikely for a woman to inspire a man to get up and pray.
It could work, but obviously it's very unlikely though.
I mean, if it's a case where like you're running late in your prayers and you see your wife get up and pray, you're like, all right, cool, I got to quit what I'm doing.
Yeah, that's different.
But if you're not praying at all,
yes,
and the woman keeps pestering you, going, come on, like, sabilillah, whatever approach, the cutest approach you want to take it, the woman's trying to tell me what to do. It's very, very unlikely. It does happen, 100%. There are men who get inspired by women, and that's incredible to see. But I know I can't convince a man to pray.
True.
If you're already amongst your peers and it doesn't faze you, it's very unlikely that I'm going to inspire you like that. I might inspire you in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
I might comfort you in different ways. I might be able to serve you in different ways. But for me, one of my main rules for myself, because I know what needs to serve me, is I need someone who prays.
Yeah.
And someone who will G-check me for praying.
Yeah.
I might want to like jab you, then I wooster, but I know where that comes from, and that to me is your
example.
No, it's just your way of showing love as well. That you love me enough that you want me to pray. Yeah. When you understand the importance of a prayer.
Without a doubt. And you have to, and see, this is the thing as well we have to remember, you know, with our spouses as Muslims, you know, in Jannah, that you're going to be either raised because of your spouse.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying? So to push each other in terms of increasing their deen and knowledge and Quran and whatever it is Islamically, to push yourself, to push each other, it's only for yourself to gain in the next life. So it's a beautiful thing.
But just like one more point I want to make, as you're saying that, it reminded me of my like the setup at home at the moment. Like the way my son is growing in his faith is because he sees a man doing it at home all the time. Like he wants to wake up if he hears us praying Fajr. He's like, yeah, I'm awake, I've done my bed. And I'm just like, all right, cool. He won't go to bed until he does certain things with him, and it's because he's inspired. Could I have done that alone? Possibly. I mean, I was doing it already alone, but is it with the routine in place and the structure in place? He's just like constantly gravitating to what he's doing. And to me, if that person wasn't praying, but I'm praying, but why should I pray if he's not praying?
Yeah.
And then it's that contradiction walking in the house the whole time, because you know, like when people go, oh yeah, you can be in the same household and do you and I'll do me, but you forget what unity is and you forget what oneness is. Yeah. So that's why to me it's just like there's certain foundations you can't compromise on.
Yeah. Spot on.
What do you feel like is gone wrong in today's society to why people aren't finding each other or willing to settle down?
Cool. All right. So there was a point in recent history. I say recent history in terms of like 50 years ago. Let's say 50 years ago. That divorce was a mazza. What? Your parents are divorced, or this person's getting divorced? You're the talk of the town. It was frowned upon. Yeah. You know what I mean? You had to move. Like we're talking about England. Yeah. So and now then obviously we're getting more and more liberal. So I feel like obviously there's a lot of systems in place. There's a lot of ideologies that have, you know, moved society forward, let's say. In some ways. In other ways, I don't think it has.
Hindered.
But I feel like there's a lot of, the information age, innit? We've lived in that age where there's a lot of information you can access. Plus, we lived in it's a fast life now.
Very fast paced.
You know what I mean? It's fast. Like everything's now. So, I don't know for you, growing up, my generation, or like me growing up, it's like we wanted to be adults, but we at the same time were forced to mature. So I feel like the younger generation now, or the young people now that are having these debates and talking about, I want to be like this and I want to be like that. One, different morals, different principles, different outlook on life. And when I mean outlook, like what's important to you in life?
What's a priority?
What do you value? You know what I'm saying? Their morals are gone.
What do you, if you could pinpoint it to one main thing, what would it be that influence and shift all these perspectives?
If we knew that, we'd have the antidote. we'd have the
people monetize on this struggle.
Yeah, they do. But I mean, there will be something to, like, you know, slam the door shut. But I mean, one thing. don't know. But
mine would be social media.
Social media.
I think it's shaped your perspective and it's dictated how you should feel, think, and desire.
Social media, to a certain extent, yes. Likewise, I can say, that's like another debate to say that drill rap's the reason for youth violence.
I mean,
to a certain extent,
it does enhance it.
It doesn't help it without a doubt. But I mean, is that the sole reason?
But that's complete.
No.
To me, the reason why I say it's not comparable is because
Mm-hmm.
social media is used for everything. Social media is used for advice. It's used for mental well-being. It's used for purpose. It's used for elevating yourself financially, intellectually, and sometimes there's no monitor of it. So when you have the Andrew Tates going and pushing the narrative with chess, people are going, "Raw, this is matter of fact. This sounds real." And it's just like we're no longer going to the original roots of like understanding things. We're kind of using all these new like people like what listening to me right now. Like there's a sister who's going, "Nah, everything you say, I resonate with, but I could be misguided." But do you know what I mean? And it's like we're all influencing each other. Yeah. But then certain narratives are becoming popular and trending, and now people are all going, "Do you know what? Maybe this is what womanhood is. Maybe this is what a man should be." So I feel like there's a lot of interference to how you should be, and there's a constant adaptation to that narrative. I hear you.
That's a very fair point. But I have to say, I'm not going to disagree because I agree with you on 95% of that. Yeah. But there's also the element I have to think of. What about the people that was around before social media that have been affected by it, that still think like young people today or the generation today? When before the big social media. Like there were certain guys that was like, I'm the alpha dog. Yeah. This is my way, the highway. If I want a woman, she's mine. That's my thing.
But the exposure wasn't there, so therefore your voice doesn't vibrate through a million people.
But what I mean is they still had that perspective and that mindset.
That's generational.
Before the social media bubble. You know what I mean? Or boom, should I say. Yeah. But at the same time, you still got, like, for example, you said your son's like an old soul. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You still got that in this generation.
However, it does take for him to slowly be conditioned by social media. Yes. For him to start accepting and being desensitized to certain things and certain behaviors and certain even just things in life that we're maybe trying to protect our energy from. Cool. So then I have to say then, thinking about it now, then it has to be like life experience. That's what I think has got to be the biggest factor. You touched something on like earlier. You said how 50 years ago, having a divorce was like a big shame. Yeah, society changed. Would you say that people now just get divorced for the sake of it, or do you feel like actually the reason why divorce rates have gone up because I'm in two minds. So basically, I believe that a lot of people have romanticized the concept of just getting with someone. They've romanticized the concept of a wedding, but they don't quite understand the values of marriage. Yeah. So they don't understand how hard it is. True. But on the flip side, I feel like the reason also why there is an increase of divorce, especially later on in life, as opposed to the first year or two, because the first year and two, 1 to 3 years, is probably the hardest part of marriage because you're still learning each other, you're balancing, you're doing whatever, and there's a lot of overwhelming feelings at times because you're constantly adapting to this new human being in different scenarios. But later on in life, there's a lot of people now who are getting divorced, and it's because they finally feel safe enough and strong enough to leave a marriage that's very very toxic, damaging. Like where the child that has experienced, like, witnessed abuse to the mother, they've experienced abuse to themselves, and like before then the taboo was so heavy. Yeah, that they would have remained in those relationships. They would have stayed in it. And even to this day, based on the comments that I see on my own page, it's almost as if people should remain in relationships that are broken. But that's unfortunate generational. Okay, I hear you. Like inherited mindsets. I didn't think of it on that flip side. On that flip side, look, no one deserves to be in a relationship where they're being abused or treated badly or emotionally, whatever. That abuse is a myth. Both men and women. Get out of there. Yeah. No, get out. No, honestly, you get out of there. Your life is. You deserve better than that. Facts. Every human deserves to be loved, to be cherished, to be nurtured, to be cared for respectfully in a good manner, without a doubt. So in that terms, if you need to get divorced in that sense, do it. Do you know what I'm saying? Because regardless of the situation, it's not good. Even if there's kids involved, it's not good. That whole scenario, that dynamic. But like, just to, like, because now when you're saying things like boom, 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 things are popping up, and I'm like, cool.
So society in terms of their outlook has changed. So divorce is not a problem. Promiscuity is not a problem. A man can be with multiple partners. It's not a problem. Do you get what I'm saying? Well, it's not seen as
not deemed like, as a problem.
You can still. I'm gonna tame him. I still get girls like I'm like you. Like you know when I was younger. Like, you know, this guy has got like 5 or 6 and you still want to deal with this guy.
Some women think they can change a man.
I'm like, good luck. Don't shout me when it goes wrong. I know the guy. I've been in situations, watch this. This is how real I am. I've been in situations and I'm like, listen, leave my man in front of him. He's my boy, you know. This is my boy. We've grown up together.
Some guys will have stuff to say about that.
No, I don't care. I'm telling her, leave him.
Yeah.
He's right here in front of me. I'm like, leave this guy. He's going to ruin your life. Get out now. He's looking at me like, I said, I don't care, bro. I know how you are. Yeah. I know you. Yeah. Don't do this to her. She's a good woman. Yeah. Leave him.
Do you know what? That's quite rare because I've spoken to men about this and they've said, it's not my business.
No.
So like, if I was to find out my man was cheating on his wife, all I can do is advise him, but I'm never going to step to her and say
cheating and that's not my business. But what I mean is my business is if this guy's a bit abusive. Do you get what I'm saying? I know how this guy is. So like in this specific example, he will get drunk and he will just like chat crap. Yeah. But to this point where like he shouted in her face, that's from what I can see. So what else are you doing outside of that? Do you get what I'm saying? But I know that she's good to you. When you need something, she's there. When you need her, she's there. So don't do that.
Yeah. No, I mean, I respect it.
Remove yourself.
Massively.
Do you get what I'm saying? So in terms of what the main cause is, I think you're right. Social media, I think societal perspective on things, the outlook, and
that's constantly shifting.
Yeah, it's always shifting because there's always something new. There's always we need to enhance our society needs to improve and move forward. We have to improve how we think and view things. Yeah, cool. You do. We have to be progressive, but now there's like 100 gender types.
Yeah, we're not gonna get into that.
We're not getting there, but I'm just saying that's just that's just I think progressive.
But then it's like social platforms are what help spread the normalities of a lot of things that we're seeing these days. Yeah. Whether it's the concept of accepting that men will cheat, whether it's accepting that women feel like this is their body, they can do what they want. There's a lot of narratives that are being pushed, and the more you see it, the more you start second guessing yourself, whether you're being too harsh, whether you're having too unrealistic standards, and people start compromising. I read this thing the other day. It's about how submission is oppressive, right? And it's just like there was this meme that says women are very happy to submit to their boss and they see it as empowerment, but the minute they want to submit to the husband, it's oppression. And it kind of shows the narrative of how women are moving these days. Some women, obviously we do have women who are old school, but I find it very interesting that there are a lot of women who are very career oriented, who are very empowered in that role, but they're technically like a slave to their boss. And it's just like, but they have no issues and they won't bat an eyelid over it. Yeah. But when it comes to catering to your husband or to your partner, it's like, am I a mug? And it's just like, there's this, I don't know if you listen to music, but there's a song called Cater to You by Destiny's Child.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Come on.
Yeah, it's a banging tune,
yeah,
right?
It's a banger. That's what I wanted.
That's it, same. That will go for me. But then that actually, I think around 2-3 years ago, there was a massive backlash.
Against that tune?
That song went viral on social media all over again, going, oh my God, it's such an oppressive song, misogynistic song. How dare...
That was a banger.
Listen, they were like...
that was a banger growing up.
Listen, they said, how do you want to what do you mean when you come home, I'm going to undo your shoes things.
Yeah, your shoes strings.
I'm going to cater to you, cook food for you, if you want your back rubbed. It's like, what kind of stupidity is this? Like,
listen, I think I fell in love with Beyonce because of that.
But women are lost. But just based on the fact that women are now, as women, not men, going this, women are going, no, this is oppressive. It shows you how far disconnected we are from traditional roles.
That's why I'm going to go back to my mum when she used to serve my dad. Yeah, like that. She enjoyed it. Yeah. Like my mum, even to this day, like she'll call me, I'm cooking loads of food.
She's excited.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I'll be like, oh, my friend wants, everyone's got takeaway, the Tupperware. You know what I'm saying? She enjoys feeding people. Like she enjoys to look after people. So like, I don't know. That's why I was looking for a wife that enjoyed cooking, that enjoyed looking after the household, that enjoyed those things, so that we don't even have to chat about it. Like, it's cool.
Yeah. I think because there are some women who like did all those roles, but they did it with a bit of resentfulness, like because a little bit of resentment, because they were just like, I have to do it because culturally I'm forced to do it.
I hear you.
Especially in certain cultures where it's like, it's not glamorized. It's just like, you're going to be a wife right now. So you're going to finish education, you become a wife, and this is your role, and then we're gonna condition you to it. Whereas when you're growing up in an environment where actually me catering to my husband excites me, people won't understand and they won't connect to it because they saw it in a different light. You can come from the same faith, but the agenda and the teaching that was pushed to you was you're effectively going to be that man's slave.
Yeah.
Then you don't enjoy cooking. You're a great cook, but you don't enjoy cooking. You're a great cook because you were told from the age of like 8 or 9, you know, one day you're going to cook for your husband. One day you're going to cook for your husband.
Yeah.
And that's the purpose. So I understand why women feel some kind of way about it. But I think it's about learning the narrative for yourself.
Yes, adjusting the narrative or creating the narrative in terms of, like, see, this is the thing though. It's about what do you want as well though.
Yeah.
So like, if that's not what you want, that's cool.
But figure out what it is you want.
Yeah. And then, so don't want two things that contradict each other though.
That's it.
That's what annoys me. So like, for example, with my boys, like, yeah, man, I want a wife, man. I just want a wife. You don't want to watch. Like, I had to tell the boys of it. We were playing computer, PlayStation, we're on the headphones, yeah?
Yeah.
And they will talk about, yeah, man, I just need a wife. There was 2 of the boys. And like, there's 4 of us that are married in the group. And so, you know, we had to say, shut up, man. Bruv, you're chatting, don't chat.
Why?
Because you don't want no wife.
Why?
Because you're not behaving like a husband. You're not moving like you want a wife. You two are talking about in code. You lot are on the chat talking in code about stuff.
Something else, yeah.
That you know you can't chat to us about because we're married men. So we're like, don't do that. Do you get what I'm saying? So don't claim you want a wife and I want that lifestyle, but then you're doing the bachelor style.
But
stuff.
I think everyone's got different narratives. Like I want a missus so I can have it. Like I can either have like sex on tap or I have like a cooked meal every single day. But they forget there's other roles and responsibilities within that. Like union in order to make that marriage work.
Yes. Because
unless you get someone who's got no experience, no life, no nothing, and then you can mold her into the woman you want, which I think is kind of weak, but cool. But then I saw this meme the other day where this guy was talking. He was spitting basic facts, but sadly, you got to still say it. He's like, a lot of men say, I want a woman that works and cooks and cleans and looks after the house and is my peace and is a nurturer who can do this and that and. But then you want to be a man that works and comes home and chills.
Yeah.
Is that really fair?
Nope.
Like,
of course it's not.
Like, because I think in a hypothetical world, in the ideal world, like my husband and I spoke about this. I said, actually this morning, I said to him, in the ideal world, what would marriage look like to you? And he's just like, that. Actually, I wrote it down, actually.
Wow.
Let me go to it. He said, where is it? Time is of the essence. Okay, so he said, for a man, in an ideal world, tradition to him would look like men providing and leading a home, a woman to feel safe and loved, and to live within his means. That woman is in charge of running the home, i.e. cooking, cleaning, nurturing, laying the foundations for the children, and to create an environment of peace, respect, and to be supportive. Yeah. And he went for him, it's like for a woman to support him and not undermine his ambition and to be like in whatever. And alhamdulillah, we live to this within that circumstances. I've taken a year out of work, and he's like, "How do you feel to be? What is it? A housemaker?" I said. I'm a housewife. He's like, no. He's like, you're a housemaker. You can do more than that. Yeah. And then I said, to be fair, I never had it in me. Like, I never was career driven. I just had to succeed for my son to provide. But if a guy was to say to me tomorrow, come, which is what happened, come live in my means, and I'll look after everything, I'm here for it. Yeah. Not because I want to live off a man, because I genuinely want to be able to fulfill my role and my duties wholeheartedly and not rushed. So my first week out of work, I'm like, I get to clean properly. And he's just like, you're such a weird person. I'm like, do you know how hard it is to try and maintain a house while also working, while also podding, while also editing, while also doing school run? It's a madness.
No, that is, and that's what I've got to big up single mums, because you was doing it alone, single mum for years. Like, you guys are superheroes. Like, I always say it to, like, I see mums, like, I help them with their buggies or something on the trains or whatever. You know, you're a superhero. Like, I just let them, you know what I mean? Because I respect it, because it's different. And my wife's the same. She loves to clean. Like, I remember a couple of days ago,
it's therapeutic, man.
I got home and she's like, I cleaned the whole house.
Yeah, pride.
Like, everywhere. I was so happy. I'm like, what? That's great.
Some people upload videos of them cleaning the yard. It's a real thing.
She watches it. I've seen them.
Yeah,
I've
it's
seen
therapeutic,
them.
man. You start learning new ways to organize.
She's like, there's this new thing you can do. I'm like, yeah, no, I love it. I'm here for that. And I rate that as well. But I feel like you have been provided, there's an environment that allows that to happen.
So I was going to say the realities of it. So we both went through the realities. And the realities is, which is like with my first marriage, is both had to work. And we, what was it? Oh, basically that the fact that in my case also, even when getting married now, I had a bit of resistance with my husband leading the way, because I've been so independent, and I had my own little bit of trauma of how I'm willing to receive it. So having a man or being financially dependent on a man was scary, because I've always catered to myself and I've always provided for myself from the age of like 16. And even when I got married to my first husband, we still split things. So for me to suddenly go, you can own, like, you can pay for everything, I feel compromised.
Okay.
So it took me a very long time for me to let go of the concept and allowing him to even pay for the bare minimum, because I'm just like, I'm used to just handling it myself.
So how did you work around that then? Like, for yourself to like get to this point that you're at now?
I think it's just him just being calm about it. Okay. He's just like, Hebz, I've opened a joint account, I'm putting money in it, do shopping with it. And I was just like, what? So I get to buy you things with your own money? That's mad. I'm like, what kind of stupidity is this? Like, because I'm not been that woman who's just like, oh, babes, I need some money so I can buy you a gift for your birthday. No, man, I earn my money. I'm going to buy you something. I'm going to be proud of it. Yeah. So it took a while. It took a while for me to adapt to the concept of being a bit vulnerable and allowing myself to just let a guy lead, because I know I have a desire for it. But when I put myself in someone else's hands before, it wasn't handled right. So being able to kind of let go of that, and because you're always forever healing, but as you're healing to then try something differently, it's the energy that person gives to me as well, that he's made me feel safe.
That's nice.
He's given me the peace. He's not just saying it, he's showing it. Like, small little gestures, small little whatever has allowed me to go, do you know what, Hebz? Let go.
So, and that's good to hear, because that's the same for me. I'm not a talker. Yeah. I don't like to have I don't like to speak for time. But I realised I have to communicate more and better and more effectively. Yeah. So like my wife had to check me on that. Yeah. Like, listen, I need stimulation. You need to mentally stimulate me.
But it's good that like, she's not shying away from saying it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, we talk? No. She's like, don't give me no mundane 10-minute convo. We need to speak. We need to engage. Yeah. And the same way I had to check her, like, look, you're not living by yourself anymore. You're not independent, strong lady no more. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You're not like doing your own. You've got a husband now. Yeah. You've got to change that dynamic. Yeah. And obviously that's going to take time, but you have to understand this is what I'm seeing.
It's being vulnerable, isn't it? That's the idea.
At the same time, yes. But it's all, and that's what I said, it's having them uncomfortable conversations where you're like, look, there's things that we need to bend in certain things. You need to like accept that. You need to change certain things. And in order for us
to benefit your relationship. Yeah. And I think a lot of us want to be loved. A lot of us want to be held. And that's the reality. Like, I remember listening to a lecture in like the other day in the mosque, and they said, like, we're making marriage so hard, but yet sending so free and available. Yeah. And it's just like, the realities are, it's because everyone's yearning for love. Everyone's romanticizing over everything, whatever it is that you're yearning for. So it's like, but yet we're putting on this facade, this front, to be a certain way, to behave in a certain manner, because I can't show him I'm weak. I can't show her I'm weak. I can't do this. But the realities are, in an ideal world, if we didn't have all these constant social changes and pressures to provide and to be strong and to do this, women want to be women, really, and men want to be men. But we've had so much external factors trying to taint our vision and taint our views and to shift our thoughts. It's like, nah, women aren't the same anymore. You've got to treat them in a certain way to keep them in check. Men on a certain, like, aren't in a certain manner anymore. You shouldn't respect them. They're gonna disrespect you, so you disrespect them first. And it's like we're constantly warring when deep down inside we just want to be loved.
Everyone does, and I think that's human nature. Everyone wants to be cared for, give care, a certain amount of care, or give a certain amount of love and receive a certain amount of love.
We make it hard.
Yeah, we make it hard for us. So that's true. I feel like, and that's what I say about loads of different things. Life's as easy as you make it. It's as easy as you want it to be as well.
100%.
You know, if you want to simplify it, simplify it.
Yeah.
You want to make it complicated, do that. But I'm not here for complex.
No, I agree with you. No, honestly. And I think as you get older, as you assuming that you get wisdom with it, you realize how simple life is. And the realities of just serving each other and that peace that you create in that environment. That's the one environment you come home to. Your home is the energy that you enter when you face a whole day of madness and chaos and unpredicted stuff to come home to that peace. Yeah. That's all we truly want. Do you know what I mean?
Like this weekend, my phone was on silent over there.
Yeah.
I did nothing. Me and my wife did nothing for the first time in a long time. And we were like, this feels so good. Like we're just not doing anything. I said, don't cook. We're just going to get takeaways.
That's even better.
Do you know what I'm saying? Don't cook, don't worry. Like the only washing up we had to do was like teacups.
Yeah, them ones.
You know them ones there? That was it. I was like, let me do that. Don't stress. And let's just... And that was lovely.
No, that's beautiful.
Peace. Easy. As easy as you want to make it.
That's it. Like even like this morning I was sitting with my husband like preparing for this episode and he just started doing like dishes. I'm like, you good? He's just like, well, why not? I said, because I should be doing it. He's like, what's your point?
Yeah.
Like, and I'm just like, okay.
My wife is like, why are you washing up?
I appreciate you.
I'm like, I don't mind it. It's therapeutic for me to be washing up. I don't know. I like it. She's like, what are you doing that for? Or if I'm cleaning the bathroom or doing something or who, she's like, no, I'll do it. Like, chill out. I'm doing it anyway.
Yeah.
It's calm.
I think we're running out of time.
Oh, that's me and my waffle.
Nah, it's calm. There's a lot of things, obviously, as always, we never get around doing.
Let's rapid fire it.
What's been your biggest learning about your marriage? Learning point about your marriage? Thus far.
Oh man. Communication. Yeah. Communicating properly. Yeah. Or effectively, openly. That's really difficult, man.
Yeah. I think to continue what you're saying about, especially for women, like don't be too in your feelings to not communicate how you feel. I think that's a lot of time wasted when you're just being like, no, he should have realised. And when you spend a lot of time in that energy, you just wasted half a day and you've just created an unnecessary environment where actually we can just speak and be kind to each other, be gentle. And do you know what? Just like also not going to sleep mad at each other. Like even if I have a misunderstanding with my husband, even if he just puts his hand on me and he goes, I love you. And I'm like, yeah, safe, love you too. Like you're being stubborn, but the love is there, the respect is there.
Yeah. That's a good one, man.
Yeah, communication, definitely.
Have you got that? I tried to make that a rule. It doesn't work. Don't sleep angry.
No, we do it all the time.
What, sleep angry?
No, we don't.
Oh, you don't sleep angry. You talk before.
100%.
Okay.
Something will be said to make it very clear.
Okay.
Or for the love and appreciate kind of
vibes. But we'd have to still talk. Do you talk about what upset you?
Yeah. No, we'll address it.
What the issue is.
We will talk about it. Yeah. Do we talk about it on a saying depending on what time it took place?
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
But we don't go to bed mad at each other.
Okay.
Because we know that we can
go
to
sleep
and never wake up.
To that point.
It's just not worth it. It's not worth it. But as humans, we get caught up in our feelings. But it's just like learning to be less petty about things, because really, put things in perspective, was it worth it?
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it's true.
Because my pot's sliding asleep, to me, it's like, I can't guarantee that I'm going to see you tomorrow. So as much as I'm being a bit prideful and it's just like, no, but I'm done. Like, we're always arguing. It's just like, is it worth it? Is it worth it?
And it's not. And, just on that, I saw something the other day and it's like, if you don't want to die in this place, don't go there. If you don't want this to be the last words you speak, don't say it. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like those kinds of things and those actions. If this was to be your last actions, your last words, your last memory of that person, is this what you want it to be?
Word.
And that's what I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
I need to be careful. We're more attentive to what I say,
how I say it. It happens with time.
But not just with my wife, but in general as well.
And the thing is, the beauty about the Zakarriyah is that because if you're constantly having these conversations, even with yourself, there's only going to be room for growth.
Yeah.
It's better than being stagnant and resistant. And I think a lot of us resist change, depending on even who's trying to say it to you. True. I think for me, like, my bit of advice I'll tell people, especially I'll speak to women, I guess, is don't make things hard for yourself. Figure out truly what you want in a man. Like when it comes down to the real nitty gritty bits of like serving your soul and your purpose, what is it do you truly desire from a man? Not what social media is trying to push. Not the desire of a wedding, not the desire of what that looks like and how many people and what they're going to eat. Don't fantasize over things that won't hold your marriage down. Look at his character. Is he generous? Is he kind? Is he this? Who is he with his people? How is he like with a family? Who is he in front of God? And I think don't put things in the way that don't hold any value to your faith and your purpose. Obviously, allow yourself to enjoy your moment and to attract the right person. But there's a lot of us who are maybe letting go of situations because of either too many options, which they think are options, but they're not. It's just attention. And also because they have a fantasy of an idea of what they thought marriage should look like, how it should start, and how it should continue. And I think the main thing is you're just trying to achieve your life partner, and you can grow together. Don't expect them to peak and then you jump with them. Like, there's a beauty of growth when you do it together. Like, imagine trying to like have those stories with your partner rather than saying, so he bought like 10 cribs and I just jumped in one of them. Like, but going, actually, we bought, do you know when you hear like the parents talk about, we bought our first house together, we slept on the floor for a week. That's sick. Yeah. Rather than, it must be furnished and it must be this. Yeah, true. Like, live within a man's means. Like, as long as he's not being stingy, stop being stingy. Yeah,
don't be stingy, man. Don't do that.
Any advice that you'd like to give out to men when it comes to settling down?
Be honest with yourself first. What do you really want? And are you prepared to work for what you want as well? Understand what you need to bring to the table as well as what you're looking for. So don't expect certain things from women or your potential wife, but you're not ready to meet expectations for yourself or set standards for yourself. That's one. The next thing to do is, I'd say, is to understand yourself better before you put your life in someone else's life.
100%.
Do you get what I'm saying? So, I mean, in the sense that you have to be at a certain point where you understand yourself well enough, or you're at a point that you can speak, you can articulate yourself, you can understand, and you can express yourself in a way that you can convey what you mean. Does that make sense?
Don't be a caveman.
Don't be it. Yeah, like, you know what I mean. Just be able to express yourself. Be able to give love, take love, accept, you know, that there's no perfect, and be able to work on things.
And it's all lessons. You're gonna have so many lessons along the way. You're not gonna get the final product just like that.
Don't make it hard either, man. Don't make it hard.
So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Every time the time just flies.
I don't know if you want to come for the fourth time, but
no, I'm on it. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like there's still stuff we were supposed to cover, right?
100%.
Yeah.
100%. But thank you for coming. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me.
For those who don't know who you are, where can they find you?
Oh, you see, you're nice.
Any projects that you're working on?
Yes. So when are you looking to drop this?
4 weeks.
Okay. Good. Good. Okay. So. There's an X Conversation program should be out, I hope now.
Yeah.
Or like be promoted now. So please get in touch on X Conversation UK. That's X Conversation, one word, UK. That's on the socials. And Life After Prison at After Prison Pod. Check us out. Season 2's out. And yeah, just follow me, man. Check me out. Thank you as well. Appreciate it.
Pleasure, man.
And please, if you haven't subscribed, you have to subscribe.
I appreciate you.
ASAP, because your channel's really good, man.
I'm trying.
It's really good. And follow on TikTok and Insta. You're dope.
It works. I appreciate it,
you're
bro.
dope.
Guys, I've been watching and listening to Growing Up British with myself, Mama Hebz. You can catch me on Instagram on I am Hebz with a Z. Growing Up British, British.h, also on Instagram, and Mama Hebz on TikTok and YouTube. Like this gentleman said, please subscribe to the Rascal Thing. I appreciate you so much. Have a wonderful and incredible day. Peace out.
Grownish, smartish, British.
We are British.